Follow now on Twitter at DJ Beatstreet.
It's another Q&A with DJ Beatstreet. Folks, today's special guest is Silver Medallion. Silver Medallion, how you doing, man?
I am doing fantastic. Beautiful day in New York City. Happy to be with you.
Oh, man, beautiful day here in Philadelphia. First thing, I want to get the folks who don't know you a little bit more familiar with you. Who is Silver Medallion and what are you about?
Hi. Well, so I'm a DJ and vocalist. I've been DJing for a long time, since I was about 16, and I've been a vocalist for about the past 5 or 6 years. Originally in like rock bands, and then made the switch over to like EDM and electro about 4 years ago. But yeah, Silver Medallion was originally born as like a 2-person group in Arizona. Actually, one of the other members passed away when we were on over 2 years ago, and then it kind of became just me. And so I'm kind of, trucking forward with the legacy of the group and of one of my friends, and trying to make outstanding experimental dance and electronic music.
Dope. Single that's actually out right now. That's pushing real hard. I'm pushing on my mix show. Stay Young.
Yes.
Take a look at the lyrics. It feels really emotionally charged, and I feel like it's going to connect with a lot of people the more and more this song gets exposed out there. I want to know, what was your inspiration for this song?
Well, this song, so the song is called Stay Young, and it has to do with, with my generation, the kind of this generation of 20-somethings that we're insecure about kind of the future of where we're going. We don't really know what to do with our college educations, or if we don't have college educations, or or their jobs. Just insecure about the whole thing. But we've gone out and we've really connected to EDM music, and we've really connected to, to kind of like this new lifestyle that I think ties us all together. And it's kind of about our dream of even though we're growing up, we're still staying the same in our mentalities, and we're still kind of partying our nights and weekends away, and and I don't want to be cliche and everything, but kind of living that you only live once lifestyle. And this is kind of my EDM anthem for my generation.
The YOLO EDM anthem.
Yeah, I feel like that term has become so overused, but at the end of the day, it is something that ties people of kind of from wherever they're from, of the time right now. I think a lot of people are kind of really living that lifestyle because of the uncertainty of our future,
Very true, man. Very true. I mean, and we're speaking a lot about EDM, and I want to know, EDM, for right now, I want to say music industry feels like it's the new fad. Some people would say it's going to be dead in a few years. Other people see it keeps getting more popular and popular. Let's say with Chris Brown, Rihanna, Pitbull really pushing this super mainstream. Do you see EDM fading away? And also with these major artists' involvement, do they help an independent artist who is probably more and more pushing this EDM scene? Is it, going to help you guys in the long run?
It's a very interesting question. It's something I definitely talk about with fellow DJs and artists I know frequently. I read something the other day where Jimmy Iovine said he actually wasn't really a fan of electronic dance music, and how I think kind of the industry is captured onto it as a fad, being okay, the kids like this, we're going to exploit this, we're going to make money off it, we're going to write songs for Rihanna. And, I guess, that's good in the sense that it's giving some of the artists who have been putting in their dues for years, like the David Guettas, the Benny Benassi's, to, really take a chance to take it to a world stage. But at the end of the day, the mainstream is going to do what the mainstream does. They're going to see a fad, and then they're going to shift on with the next thing. And so I think it's going to help some people in EDM music, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to live on without it in the way it did for the 20 years beforehand. You still had huge house music artists and huge tours and shows before it became pop for 10 to 20 years. Huge artists in New York, Armin van Helden and Danny Tenaglia, these guys who were just kind of legendary. I think that's going to live on even after it fades out of the mainstream. When Pitbull decides to go back to 90 BPM, I think there's still going to be a huge, house music, electro scene.
90 BPM, spoken like a DJ.
Yeah.
Actually, I was here looking online. I see that you had a free album for download, the one you did with Benzi, sometime back. How did you come up with the title name for that? No One Ever Really Dies. And how is it like to work with Benzi and the label?
It's funny. So I know I mentioned at the beginning, you know, a member of my group died, and so after that, I didn't really know what I was going to do with music, and we had all these unreleased songs we did together, and I kind of felt that even though I didn't know what I wanted to do with music, I still wanted to get this music out because it was kind of like my homie's legacy, you know, and so no one ever really dies about that. And it's like if you create something, if you create music, or you create art, or you create an experience with other people, like you don't ever really die. And that was kind of my expression for him of being like, hey, this is what we outputted, and if it goes out into the world, and you know, if 10,000 people hear it and they spread it on, like, I mean, but he's dead, he's still alive. So that was the inspiration behind that. I was just hitting up all the DJs I kind of respected or thought I could work with at that point to be like, hey, this is the mixtape, this is why I'm doing it. You know, I'd appreciate if you guys like help me put it out. Benzie like hit me back and was like, hey, you know, like I dig it. He really liked one of the songs, All I Asked. He was like, cool, you know, I'll put the mixtape together for you. And he's like, I want to put your song on my label, which is cool because that's kind of like, you know, a story that like every kind of kid wants to have. Like I was a sort of small town act. It's like, hey, a bigger DJ was like, hey, I really like your song. Let me put it out on my label. And I just emailed him out the blue, you know, like hit him on Twitter, got an email, emailed him, you know. And it was really cool to work with that because, you know, I got to work with Swayze immediately on the first track. And like as a bigger artist than I was at the time, like I've been able to open for him. It was cool to work for him. And it was just a cool experience to actually get tied into someone who helped create people like, you know, Mike Posner, people I look up to. You know, working with someone who's worked with them is just like, I don't know, it gave me the motivation to like continue with like my music and see that, hey, like this is something that's like amazing and I can actually play a part in.
Yeah, definitely. And shout out to the homie Benzie on that. Also, let's talk about the death of your bandmate, your best friend, who's the MC Carnegie?
Yeah, Carnegie.
Carnegie, yes, also known as Abby Latin. I looked up the case online, and you know, the whole thing was over a car accident. I believe the girl was under the influence. How has that affected Silver Medallion?
I mean, pretty dramatically. I mean, those things like if you choose to pursue music, like everyone thinks like, oh, you can chase music and become a rock star or whatever, but you gotta kind of give up a lot to get there. And we both given up a lot at that point to like, you know, we were touring, we were on like a college tour, and you know, that was like the second date. We just done a show with like Rusko the night before, and like if we'd given up like sort of like our relationships with our friends, like time with our family, like the thought of having a regular future to like chase down this music thing and to like kind of lose somebody while you're on that path is pretty staggering, you know. And then it changed Silver Medallion because like I had to have that conversation with myself, like, all right, like, am I going to continue on with this? Like I've invested a huge part of my life into it, but now it's not the same. And so it's one of those things where, like, I enjoy it still, but, like, I'm never going to enjoy it as much knowing that, like, he isn't around. But then at the end of the day, it's also inspiring to be like, hey, I want to make it to a huge level so that I can take, like, some unreleased stuff we have, like, remix it, make sure his voice and stuff gets out, and, like, show him some legacy that I think he deserves. So, you know, it's been half inspiration and half just kind of, like, you know, an emotional time.
And back to Stay Young and how you were saying kind of like the live once life in the moment and living through this moment too with losing your friend due, I guess, kind of like maybe like the party life gone wrong. You know, do you feel like as an artist too, like, do you feel responsibility to say, hey, you know, we still can live young and reckless and have a good time, but also responsibilities?
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously it changed my attitudes about, like, drunk driving and stuff, like, pretty severely to the point where I'm, like, pretty adamant against it. But, you know, like, the whole responsibility element is interesting because I've had to think a lot about, you know, being an artist as a role model. Because, you know, like, recently I've started to get, you know, like, a little bit bigger. You know, I'll have, like, younger kids and stuff tweeting me, and, like, a lot of my music is, you know, it's kind of describing this sort of, like, desperate, you know, youthful lifestyle where you're young and you're broke and you're in your New York, you're LA, and you're trying to live this dream and you're accepting all the craziness that comes at you and all the, like, messed up stuff going on around in the world. And so, you know, and I'm thinking about that, and then the good and the bad, and I just noticed, like, wow, these are 14-year-old kids, 16-year-old kids who are, like, listening to my stuff and into these lyrics, and it's hard for me to kind of decide, like, I don't want to be, like, a squeaky clean person, but, like, they really take a lot from it. So, I mean, yeah, the whole responsibility as an artist and as someone who's gone through, like, the loss that I have is just, it weighs on me a lot when I'm thinking about writing. I'm thinking about, like, what Silver Medallion stands for.
Mm-hmm. Future projects, I want to know, or not even that, what, as far as you and what do you want to do, is there any producers or any artists that you are going to work with or want to work with in the near future?
I'm working with a couple, like with like a lot of really great people introduced to through Benzie. He's been kind of opening up a lot of connections to me. I have a lot of goals as far as like making me inspiration from like a lot of different music. I grew up listening to a lot of like punk rock and Bad Brains, things like that, and even like now I take a lot from people like Sonic Gold and stuff, and I feel like that their strengths are really just having like this diversity influence. And so I'm like excited to get to a point where I can hit up someone from any genre, and you know, like whether that's like a rock band or remember a Passion Pit or somebody like that, or whether it's an MC that I respect or like a great house music producer and be like, hey, let's make something interesting. I'm really excited to get to that point. My influences shift every day, and I like want to be part of the greater experience of people making music in the world.
A few days ago, you dropped a Trap House mix. You're getting lots of love on SoundCloud. Your thoughts about this newer genre of EDM formality, whatever, since there's always new genres popping up with EDM, like Moomba softcore, electronic dubstep.
Like trap dub house. Yeah, awesome. I was actually on the subway today. I was headed to like a video shoot night with I'm putting together another mix next week, another trap mix. There's been so much new hot stuff coming out. I was like, man, I want to put together another mix. And I was listening to it, and I was really trying to like determine my own personal opinion. Like as a DJ, I'm like, oh, this is hot. I can play this. People are going to dance to it. So I was trying to be like, all right, like, what do I think of this? Is it going to be kind of like a fly-by-night genre or whatever? And I guess I'm really into trap. I really like the way it bangs. I like the way it kind of connects to EDM and hip-hop without having to have like the rap element. Like it's just a cool fill-in, and within genres it's cool for me as a DJ. And I think that the best way to look at it is that these are all kind of tools in the toolbox. Like in the same way that auto-tune was like, yeah, at one point like Kanye West, did a whole record in auto-tune, like he doesn't do it anymore, but you can like pull that out for a record. It's the same way that like if you're a real artist, and so say like you have your dubstep, you have your moomatone, you have your house, you rap, like you can take any of those elements and you can make a really dope or innovative song. And I think this track is just another piece in that toolbox that's sick and could be around for a minute, and people might pull out to make a banger anytime in the future. And I mean, the more of these like innovations we have in music, I think the better we are, and like the more interesting music becomes.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I hope it stays around a little bit longer and stays more popular than dubstep. I think personally, It works. It works for me. Now, what can we expect from Silver Medallion?
You can expect a lot of stuff. We kind of worked all summer in the hope that we could drop something, pretty much every other week in the fall. So you can expect two things. One is going to be I'm doing kind of like a lot of like, I guess I'd say more laid back. It's like more 70 BPM. It's kind of like trap music, kind of rock music. I'm doing past songs that are kind of like that. I have a song that drops tomorrow called Money Can't Buy the Way That We Feel. It's kind of in that vein, and then half of them songs I'm doing are like Stay Young, and they're kind of like dance floor, big room, like rager songs. And I'm kind of like over the next couple months, I'm sort of trying out both alleys, so kind of putting it out there, seeing what people think. But you can expect new music every other week. You can expect new videos constantly. We shot about 4 in the last month. I'm really trying to like just put out a constant stream of music, because I think that's kind of where the music game is at right now. You need to keep people interested, you need to keep them entertained, and you need to keep it diverse. And so I'm trying to do that to the maximum for the rest of the year.
Awesome. And if people want to find out, all these newer videos and stuff that you're going to be dropping, where should they go to?
Any of the 1,000 social networks I have. You can go to slavetothecity.com. That's my main website. xanaxland.com is like my blog where I like rant about stuff and post weird pictures. And then facebook.com/Silver Medallion, twitter.com/Silver Medallion, Foursquare.com. No, I'm joking, but Facebook, Twitter is the best places to hunt me down.
Lastly, on a food tip, you ever been to Philly?
What?
You ever been to Philly?
Yeah, I have. I used to record in the studio down there with these guys. Man, I can't remember their name. I was working with EMI. I actually went to the studio down there a lot, and we really loved. We were doing the cheesesteak. We were doing the hoagie,
Okay. So yeah, my next question is the cheesesteak, Pat's or Geno's?
I mean, what's a more educated man than myself's opinion? Where do you stand?
Where do I stand?
Yeah.
My stance is Tony Luke. If I had to choose between the two, I'd pick Pat.
I need to get down there, and I think we should do like a man versus food, different state DJ edition, because I really need to go head to head before I can comfortably say that. I don't want to be judged for the rest of my life,
True. True. Well, then, I mean, next time you come to Philly, that's what it has to be. You know, after a show or a gig, you know, the 2 a.m. You know, late dinner, early breakfast cheesesteak fest.
Yeah, I'm 100% down with that. You know, like that would actually make my life complete.
Follow now on Twitter @DJ Beatstreet.